ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः स्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः। स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्म विद्या संप्रदाय कर्तृभ्यो वंश ऋषिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः। सर्वोपप्लवरहितः प्रज्ञानगणः प्रत्यगर्थो ब्रह्मैवाहमस्मि। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ॐ As we said, the problem is of self-ignorance. And the ignorance can go on or can be removed only through proper means of knowledge and adequate means of knowledge. And here, the proper and adequate means of knowledge is Shastra and Guru, both of them. Shastra is a means, but it's a peculiar means in the form of Shabda, the words. Generally, the knowledge gained through the words is indirect knowledge. It can never give you the direct knowledge. And it may not be even knowledge sometimes. Like my description about my ashram. It gives you some insight, idea about what ashram may or may not be. But you have to verify it. It may be true to what you thought, maybe more than what you thought, or maybe less than what you thought. So when words give some knowledge, it needs to be verified. It is an indirect knowledge. Mom says, typical case, a teenage child asking, "Mom, where is my shirt?" She says, "I have put it in that room." And he goes, "Where is it?" Then he says, "In the shelf on the left corner." He has to verify it, whether it is on the left or the right shelf. First of all, verify whether it is in the room, and secondly, the child has to verify it is in the right or the left shelf. That being a case, people think generally that studying Vedanta is indirect knowledge and you have to have a direct experience of self because it is in the form of the words. Generally, words give indirect knowledge and they extend this logic or this experience to Vedanta also, and therefore they say Vedanta will give you an insight or view or indirect knowledge, and you have to experience the Atma in meditation. That means they are converting the self into experiential reality, and anything that is experiential reality is subjective. Therefore, a Siddha Purusha, a person having some Siddhi, Chamatkaras, power, cannot create another Siddha. His disciple may not be like him. Generally, it is not. Because you cannot create that. It's subjective experience. It's subjective accomplishment. And that cannot be converted into objective accomplishment. If it's a knowledge, it is objective, it is factual, and the one who knows can create another person who knows. Like a mathematics teacher can create another mathematics teacher. It can impart the vision of mathematics or however difficult the subject, astrophysics it may be. Teacher can pass on that vision or that knowledge to his student. There is no subjectivity or experience involved. Moment you say it is experiential, moment you say you have to realize it subjectively, moment you say studying is intellectual, moment you say it is indirect and you have to make it direct, that means they have not understood Vedanta as a pramanam. When a means of knowledge is operated, there can never be indirect knowledge. You cannot say, I see this cloth as pink and eyes have given you indirect knowledge this is pink. Meditate and experience that it is pink. The fellow will meditate. He may start with the pink but end up in some other lady because pink is a woman color. And he keeps on thinking and he realizes something else, especially in the West, you know. You have to be very sensitive about the culture. I remember way back in 2005 or 4, I went there and I didn't know all these subtleties of the culture. And then I carried some gift to one of the devotees' house and he had a son, and then I gave him a gift. He was just 5, 7 years old and I had carried a beautiful box of pencils. Unfortunately, it was packed pink and I gave the pink pencils to the boy. He literally threw on my face and cried. I don't want this. I said, what happened? I could understand because there was conditioning. This is all cultural ragadvesha. Cultural values. The child picked up a cultural value that pink is a color of girls, not mine. Anyway, so coming back to that point, eyes will give you complete knowledge, not even direct or indirect. You know it is pink, full stop. You don't have to experience it, you don't have to realize it because eyes are the means of knowledge. When it comes to the words, people don't see it as a means of knowledge and therefore say realize and meditate and know and experience and subjective. You know it from a teacher, but you have to meditate and make it a personal experience. I repeat, as I said, anything experiential is subjective. And being subjective cannot be communicated. And then it becomes mystical, which is not true. Understand? Vedanta is a means for direct knowledge like the eyes. When you operate the eyes, there and there you get the color, there and there you get the form. So also when you study Vedanta, there and there at same time while teaching takes place, you understand the fact. How? You may question, generally it is not so. How is it possible in Vedanta? Because, now listen this carefully. This is an important point. That foo-foos all these theories, all this statement that teaching is indirect and you experience and meditate and realize, and it foo-foos whole blessed thing. Generally, when the words give you the knowledge, the object of knowledge is away, then it will give you indirect knowledge. And the words are used only to communicate some object which is away. Here, the object to be known, the vastu to be known is you, the self, which can never be away from yourself. It is always there available. You are there available to yourself all the time, all the places, under all conditions, all situations. And therefore, if the person is ready, the knowledge becomes immediate. No experience necessary, no realization, meditation necessary. There and then, even while the teaching, there is no there and there, even while the teaching takes place, there is a knowledge. People say studying is intellectual knowledge. I don't understand this adjective. What intellectual knowledge? Every knowledge is intellectual. If any knowledge, even knowledge of mathematics, intellectual. Do you have intestinal knowledge? Do you have kidney knowledge? You don't have that. It is always intellectual. And there is no intellectual, it is knowledge, full stop. Because subject matter is you. Now, again the question may come, if that is me, like suppose a teacher, like practical, school practicals, university practical, when they do practical and show you, like in medicine, teacher teach in the class, and then take to the lab and actual experimental takes place. They take to operation and show the anatomy and the functioning, and then tell that this is what I had told, this is what this is called, this is what this is called, this is how this function. It gives a direct knowledge right there and there. Yes, Swamiji, understand, because the thing to be known is right in front of me, it's available. If similarly, if Atma is available right in front of me all the time, when the teaching takes place, how come I do not? Yes, there is a point there. Please understand, words can give immediate knowledge when the vastu is prapta. Already prapta. If it is prapta, then the question comes, why should I have knowledge? If it is prapta, I know it is prapta. I don't need to know. Apraptasya gnapakam, agnatasya gnapakam. Agnatasya gnapakam, how? How can be the means of knowledge give me the knowledge of that which is already known? Yes, there is a very peculiar. I have one example for it. Self-ignorance, yesterday I mentioned, I will clarify, is a very peculiar case. We Indians, Hindus know the story of Karna. Karna was originally born to Kunti and adopted by a charioteer driver, Adhiratha and Radha. He was an infant, and then she, you know the story, she put him in a basket and flew in the river water and was picked up by this couple. And they didn't have any children, and they thought this is God's gift, and he was very brilliant because son of a son, Surya Putra, so his skin was bright and glowing, and then he was wearing kundala and kavacha and looked like some divine child. So they thought our prayers have fructified. They never thought anything else. It's a gift from the God. Anyway, every child is a gift from the God. But that was a gift, and then they grew him up. And the baby always thought, this is my mother. Look at our culture. Those days. Nowadays, hardly I see that. Those days, a man, a successful man, a man of a children who are ready for marriage, marriageable children, was known through mother. Nowadays, generally, I'm son of so and so. They, even though today they introduce that way because the father is a working one. My father is a president or vice president or this particular leader or etc. They say. That's the identity they show. Mother was homemaker. But their culture, their growth, they always accepted it is because of my mother. Arjuna is often addressed as Kaunteya in Bhagavad Gita. Not Pandava. In fact, the address Pandavaha is in proportion to Kaunteya is 1/3. He was known and he felt proud. I am a son of a Kunti. These values, these attitudes, or the core person that I am is because of my mother. And society also acknowledged. He was known as Kaunteya. Kunti Putra. Kaunteya. You have heard this word in Bhagavad Gita often. Karna also was known as Radheya. She was a simple homemaker. Tell your children, your daughter and son, daughter-in-law, never say, I am housewife. In India, the woman adds one adjective. So if I ask them, okay, what are you doing? She says, I am simply a housewife. What is simply? I don't know. You are belittling your job. Simply a housewife. You are not a housewife. You are a homemaker. She was a simple homemaker, wife of a charioteer. That too, her husband was not a driver of a king or a prince, not that much well known, maybe some rich guy. But he was known as a Radheya, Radhaputra. Now that Karna knows himself as Radheya. He knows the self. But as I mentioned yesterday, not only that ignorance, self-ignorance is not simply not knowing the opposite. Taking myself to be what I am not. Karna took himself to be the son of Radha, whereas actually he was the son of a Kunti. So also I am Satchidananda, Jagat Karanam Brahma Satyam Gnanam Aham, Satyam Gnanam Anantam Asmi. I take myself to be physio-psycho-complex. Self is known erroneous. It is known also. Aham Asmi, Aham Bhami, I am and I know I am. That is known. And who am I is also known. Who am I? I am Jivaha. I am a small man. I am a non-entity. I am useless, etc. The complexes. That Jiva, that small person is Jagat Karanam Brahma. That is the fact. To know these, Shabda is a pramanam and it gives immediate knowledge. There, Karna requires a teacher. He himself will never ever stumble upon the, oh, I understood, I am not Radha, I am Kaunteya. To gain the knowledge, Naham Radhayaha, Aham tu Kaunteyaha, he requires an external source, external means to tell him. That means his words and the words of a wise person, the one who knows the truth. Technically, we call it Apta Vakya. Lord Krishna, when he came to Hastinapura to negotiate the deal for the truce to avoid the war, when the Duryodhana didn't listen to him and he refused to give anything, even a land equivalent to the tip of the needle, I said, I will not give. Suchika api nadya. Suchika means the needle. Agram means the tip of the needle. Not even the land equivalent to tip of the needle I will not give. That means negotiations failed. And Lord Krishna decided to go, departed. When he departed, just in a friendly gesture, he told Karna, hey Karna, come along, drop me to the outside of the village. He was given as per the protocol, the proper reception and proper farewell by everybody because he had enjoyed the station. But he gave extra thing to Karna, you come along with me for some distance, travel with me. And while he is traveling, he builds a context. This was the case, this is the case, this is how it was, this is how Kunti got you, that's how you have Kavach Kundalam, etc. And that's how you were, because she had that shame, sense of shame. How can I have a baby without getting married? So she put you in the basket and they picked it up and they are foster parents. Really, you are a son of a Kunti, you are Kaunteya. The whole story, that is called building up the context. This, though the words gave the knowledge, the last word was Natvam tu Radheya, Tvam tu Kaunteya. You are not the son of Radha, you are a son of Kunti. But to arrive at this, someone has to build the context and then tell. Otherwise, Karna is sitting and someone comes, hey Radha, you are Kaunteya. Karna would feel insulted. He may get angry. Suppose somebody comes and says, you are a son of a such and such a person, not this person. You have a problem, you get hurt. Or someone says, oh, you don't know who is your mother. To tell that, and who is your father, you don't know. Nobody knows who is your real father. It's an insult. Only Jesus can live with that, because we don't know who is his mother. They say father in heaven, but who is the mother, they don't tell. So Jesus should not mind when you say, who is you have no mother or something, you say, Jesus won't mind that. Anyway, coming back to this, the context has to be built up because there is a wrong identity. That conclusion is so confounded. It is so concrete, like RCC, solidified, that if only this statement is made, it stands negated or dismissed. Like statement saying, hey, you are not that, you are Satchidananda. What are you talking, Swami? Me, Ananda, you don't know how unhappy I am. Me, beyond time, you don't know who am I. That means get dismissed. Because there is the confusion is consolidated for infinite births. Anadikala pravritta. Therefore, teacher says, Tad Vijnanartham Gurum Eva Vigacchati. You have to go to a Guru alone. Even if you have some feeling, heard some words because you are born and brought up in Bharata. In India, everybody knows Atma Satchidananda hai. Tattvamasi. In the temples it is written, 4 Mahavakyas. Ham Brahmasmi Tattvamasi Pragnanam Brahma Satyam Gnanam Anantam Brahma. It is written on the temple walls. You know it. But repeating these words will not make any sense without a context being built up, and building up the context by a teacher. There are people who keep repeating Chidanandarupa Shivoham Shivoham. You don't become Shivoham. It is good to feel. It is good. I mean, you feel psychologically well. Tattvamasi, Tattvamasi, Soham, Soham. They give this mantra, Soham, Soham, Soham. Swamiji would say, Soham, Soham became Saham. You know, Sah means the lady. Saha is a pulling, I am that. And that is a neutral gender. Saha Aham. Saha means Atma, Satchidananda Aham Asmi. But it became Saham. He fell in love with one lady, so it became Saham. I am that, I am that. Got so identified. So chanting doesn't make sense. The whole context, and you see what is the context? Think of the story. Krishna telling him the whole story, building up the context is negation of Radheya first. I cannot be the son of Radha. There are so many things. And what I am not, teacher helps the student to see through. And with the context, he or she, teacher, builds up and tells, hey, you are Satyam Gnanam Anantam Brahma. Again, there is another problem. Or there is another reason why one should go to a teacher. That aham kaunteyaha natu radeyaha, that self, the new real self, let us put this, real and unreal self. Just for explanation, I am using this adjective. Self is always real, but the unreal self is aham radeyaha. The real self is aham kaunteyaha. That real self is a form. It is something tangible. It is having some attributes. The problem here is one more confounded problem, or the most difficult thing to communicate is the real self is free from any attributes. We saw in the last chapter, yattadadresham agrahyam achakshu ashrotram avarnam, etc., etc. And to communicate that through words, not only you need a teacher to build a context, but you need a teacher who knows how to use the words and how not to use them. That which is beyond the words is communicated through words. That which is beyond the senses is communicated through words. Something like learning electrical engineering, something like learning electricity. The teacher teaches, and that is a direct knowledge. You cannot say from the class, we got indirect knowledge of electricity. And suppose some student comes to a teacher, sir, tell me the knowledge. I want a direct knowledge. I want the direct knowledge. Teacher got so fed up with that fellow's request. He got so irritated. He took him to the plug and put his 2 fingers inside the plug. And the fellow had a shock. This is direct knowledge. You have now experience of electricity. It doesn't work that way. This is Beyond words, so therefore, not Gurum eva abhigachet, but what Guru? Shrotriyam. First, first word is Shrotriyam. One who can handle the words. And as I said, the words reveal the Vastu in an implied meaning, because it is not the direct meaning of given words. Because words can tell you only jati, guna, kriya, sambandha. And it has no jati, it has no kriya, it has no guna and no sambandha. That is what it means by beyond the words. Beyond the word, this statement itself needs a teacher. Yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasa saha. There is a Upanishad Vakya. From where the words return back, there is a Sukhi, there is Yajurveda, this is Samveda Vakya. Na tatra vak gacchati, na chakshur gacchati, no manaha. The speech cannot reach. It is beyond the word. And therefore meditate and realize. Then why you need Guru if it is subjective? The very statement beyond the words needs a teacher to understand it is implied. Beyond the words means please listen. Beyond the words means it can never ever be the direct meaning of a word or a sentence. That is called beyond the words. Doesn't mean the teaching will not help you. People interpret this statement itself as that teaching is not necessary. Meditate and experience beyond the words. No. So one requires teacher who knows how to handle the words. Therefore it is said Shrotriyam, one who has studied Shastra. Technically, if I say, one who knows Sampradaya. Shrotriya means Sampradaya with Guru. Sampradaya with means what? How do you know Sampradaya? Only when you had somebody to tell you that this is Sampradaya. This is the tradition of teaching. That means Sampradaya with, who already had a Sampradaya with Guru. So by the word Shrotriyam is the Guru. Listen this sentence. Guru should be Shrotriya, means the Guru is the one who was a student once upon a time. He was a Shishya once upon a time. Not like modern gurus who are Swayambhu gurus. And they talk of self-re-engineering. Idiot, you have to re-engineer yourself. And they claim that Guru is not necessary. They say this. There are psychological problems. They need a psychotherapist. There is a heavy unconscious. There is a heavy unconscious against father. And they don't want to surrender. They were deprived of the love from mother also. And whenever they talk this, these are all psychic cases. They are not spiritual guys. And it is a modern thinking, modern days. You know, they say in Gujarati, Krantikari Sant. We had one. Let me tell you the name also. Sachidanandi, the Dantali fellow. He used to write that Guru is not necessary and I go by my own experience and self-learning and all that. That person himself, he was blaming the tradition. He was talking very ill of Guru Shishya Parampara and big articles in newspaper. He was a columnist. About 8-10 years ago, he told Danyaji. One of Danyaji's students and his friends were close to them, and then they took him to them, insisting that Balo Balo Mara Guruji Nanamtam. And then they went there. He said, I made a great mistake by dismissing Guru Shishya Parampara. Tell Swamiji to give me one chila, as if chila is a commodity. I have one extra, you take it. It doesn't work that way. Anyway. So, Rajneesh, another character. These are all people said this. No. Guru, and today there are a few floatings in Bangalore. They have big. There is one fellow calls re-engineering, and one fellow teaches how to live, art of living. But who is his guru? There was guru, but he doesn't want to own up that. Psychic problems. Swayam Guru. Why Swayam Guru? Sampradaya with means a person who already was a Shishya once upon a time. Therefore, and Shishya of a Guru who knew the Sampradaya and one who learned Sampradaya and captured the Sampradaya. With all respect and humility, I am telling, this is the rarest thing to have Swami Dayanandji in our life. I have met so closely, personally, on the spiritual front, who's who of Dharma. Hindu Dharmas, who's who, all the big names are just at a phone call distance, are so friendly to me. Then I see that only Swamiji was thorough, like infinity, you cannot improve upon in Sampradaya. And that's why you find this in me. And another beauty of Swamiji was that he never said it is me. He said it is Sampradaya, he got my teacher. He felt proud himself in telling that I belong to Shankar Sampradaya. You don't become small in owning up your tradition, owning up the Guru. In fact, you grow. They say, more you bow down, more you become taller. I've seen those eyes. I've seen that sense of being blessed when he talked of Shankara and when he talked of the Sampradaya. I've seen him very close. He was a very humble and non-assuming and face in the crowd, never claimed anything. Never claimed all his successes, never claimed. Never claimed all his glories, whatever he did, phenomenal work he did, never owned up or claimed. Sometimes he may say here and there, but he always claimed the Sampradaya. So these are not Swayam Guru. People say, Swamiji, how to find a Guru? Generally, when you have question answer, some question answers are standard. Swamiji, which is bigger, Prarabdha or Purushartha? The standard question all over the world. Similarly, this question comes, Swamiji, how to know a good Guru, right Guru? They use adjective good Guru. Guru has to be good. You cannot say, Swamiji, how to have a good mother? Mother has to be good. If mother is bad, then she is not worthy to be called as mother. You may say how to find honest politician. That I understand. There is a dishonesty possible. But then you can say how to find an intelligent politician. Because there are some jokers in India also, aspiring to be Prime Minister of India. I really feel so insulted. I felt that way. When the party tells this is our Prime Minister candidate, I said, what do you think of us? You think us so full that this full Shiromani, you want as a Prime Minister? Do you think that Indians are stupid? That you are projecting this idiot as a Prime Minister? But anyway, coming back to this. So you may say this honest politician. You cannot say good mother, bad mother. There is nothing. Mother is mother. Loving mother. Mother will be always loving. You may not see the love, or she may be extra loving, but mother is loving mother, and she may have her own psychological problems and may create a problem in your marriage or person. That's a separate issue. But she is good basically, has some blocks. You have to something you have to help her to remove, and that insecurity and her own thing, that is all right. That's all because of that insecurity in mother-in-law is only because of her goodness. She is bad because of the goodness. She was so good to the child and so controlling and caring. Now she feels jobless. That is why insecurity. You cannot say good mother and bad mother. Anyway, says how to find a good guru. I just tell this. The first thing is find a guru who was a shishya. That is the good guru, first of all. You are safe, at least knows something, and not only knows something, at least he or she has some maryada. Swayam gurus try to become Bhagavan for the devotees. But that Chela guru, disciple guru, will know his maryada, that this is not mine, cannot claim my kriya, my program, my registration. That doesn't happen. And Sampradaya Shrotriyam Guru, that means one who has studied in a traditional way, who has lived in Guru Amanya. He has lived in certain maryadas. That's what Guru teaches. He has lived in certain discipline, niyamas. That's what Guru gives. He has lived to give up his or her likes and dislikes because Guru is there. He'll follow, and he or one who has Shraddha. Then only you can surrender to a Guru. So, Shrotriyam. And second is Brahmanishta. As I mentioned yesterday, Brahmanishta is the one who knows what he or she is talking about. Who is nishtha, means committed to, or committed lifestyle. There are two meanings of the word nishtha: committed to or committed lifestyle. In Gitaji, in the 3rd chapter, this word is used. Lokesmin vividha nishtha pura prokta mayanaga gnana yogena sankhyanam karma yogena yogina. That's a committed lifestyle. Committed lifestyle is possible only when he or she owns up the truth. And the question comes, how to know Guru, whether he or she is Brahmanishta or not? Whether he or she is Shrotriyam or not? Second part. You can never ever know whether Guru is a Brahmanishta or not. Because to know that other person knows Brahman, to clarify this, or to understand that whether the other person knows Brahman or not, you have to know Brahman. And if you know Brahman, why do you need Guru? It's very catch-22. To know, it is like there is a Vakya. Vidvan eva vijanati vidvajjana parishrama. Suppose you to know who is a good doctor or who is a good lawyer. How do you know? Whether the doctor knows or not, only his colleagues or contemporary doctor knows that this fellow knows and that fellow doesn't know. Because they know the subject. Then you know whether known or not. So that means to know a Brahmanishta Guru, you have to know Brahman. And if you know the Brahman, you don't need to know whether other fellow is Brahmanishta or not. And you don't need a guru. So just that to have a Brahmanishta guru is just grace, Ishwar Krupa. You go to a teacher, true. In the process of learning, you get confirmation. More you become clear about the Vastu, more you understand the nature of Atma or Brahman, more you can see that thing manifesting in his or her life, the truth. Shrotriyam also you don't know. Because to know that whether the other person knows the Sampradaya or not, you have to know the Sampradaya. But their society can help. Their common sense can help. Like whether such and such a doctor is a good in operations, how do you know? You go to that doctor and you ask 10 persons and they will say, yes, I got operated and I am successful, and therefore you go to that doctor. That's how you go. Similarly, to know that Guru, society, Aptavakya or others, they can help you. But Brahmanishta Guru is a grace. And one must go. Therefore, Shruti says, Eva, must. Generally, Shruti doesn't say must and should. All these are missing in Shastra. Because it is knowledge. You cannot say, you must know 2 plus 2 is 4. I mean, there is no must know. 2 plus 2, if you unfold, the fellow will know as 4 only. You must note it as a 4. Yeah, what is the must business? But the emphasis is there that one should, without teacher, and without such teacher, one cannot know. Now, Samit Panihi. Saguru Mevavi Gachet Samit Panihi Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam. Yesterday I mentioned, I'm just connecting the dot and completing this. Samida means twigs of people tree. And tie it and make a bundle and give. This is a symbol of surrender. Surrendering what? Not simply body and sense organ, surrender of likes and dislikes, surrender of prejudices and notions, surrender of ideas and ideals. I am surrendering. Yesterday I explained it as a Shraddha. The subject matter is you, but the whole process is removal of confusion. You think you are so right. I am 100% right about myself. They say this. Yeah, I am 100% clear about the thing. Clarity, there is no 50% clarity and 20%. Either you are clear or unclear. You cannot give percentage to clarity, you know. It is like, I love you 100%. You love, then you love it. That is not 100%. Other person, there are 3 children. Though I love you 100%, the second child I love 80%, third one 60%. There is no 50% sick. It's a quantifiable thing. You cannot do that. You can measure the success of the parents in bringing up the children. Sometimes you can measure the success of a leader also. How 100% successful president or less than 100%. And sometimes less than 0% successful also you get. You know, that depends on the samashti prarabdha. Fellow must this is the democracy. Phalam, you know, the fellow was organizing fashion shows and WWF boxes and become the president of the state. So that sophistication and the nuances fellow cannot understand because he is used to physical boxing, you know. Anyway, so coming back to this, so clarity is 100% always. How do you decide? Because the confusion is so strong. Anything Shastra says appears to be wrong. and what I feel is right. I look at these statements. Look at the self identity. How I look at myself. Who are you? Oh, I am Dukhi. You are not Dukhi, you are Ananda. Who are you? Oh, I am very agitated and angry, Swamiji. Oh, you are Shanta. Hmm? Who are you? Swamiji, you don't know what papam I have committed. They start with this, you don't know. I tell, I don't want to know also that filth, whatever you did, keep it with you. But you don't know how papi I am, you know. And then people glorify this. This bhajan, I sometimes say, I'm so relaxed and in person, I just don't like these all things. मैली चादर ओढ़ के कैसे द्वार तिहारे आऊं वो पावन परमेश्वर मैं परम पापी अरे भाई चादर मैली છે એટલે ધોબીને કહેવા જવું પડશે ચોખ્ખી ચાદર હોય ધોબીને ક્યાં જરૂર છે યાર તો कैसे આવું શું એમ જ એટલે તો જવાન છે ભાઈ why should you tell this and मैं परम पापी and the shastra says nitya shuddhosi Swamiji, I cannot be. I am God. Shiva is auspicious. No. Everything opposite. Ishvara is somewhere up. That is another problem. And we have also learned, oh God, all our players also, when they make century, they look up. Up is a relative term. You just need 6th standard geography, the globe. The fellow on the northern America will say up will go this way on the northern side on the top. And the fellow on equator like Sri Lanka and his up will be this side, another side. And fellow in the South Africa, his or her up will be other side. Which up the Bhagavan is? That's a question. Therefore, we have Namaste. It is right there in front of you. Better do that. Oh, Bhagavan, thank you. Don't just look up as though there is really up. There is a useless thing. No, 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 no. Ishvara is paroksha. Shastra says Ishvara is aparoksha. No, 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 paroksha. Then there are so many Bhagavans. It is not only Hindus say. You see this? When I go to these conferences, they say, we believe in one God. And they put it very sophisticatedly. It's an art. That's what you have to learn when you go to international conferences. Nothing to say. But we believe in one God. And our God is only God. And others' gods are not gods. That means you accept other gods. Other gods are not gods. When do you have to say? You can't say, we believe in only one president of the country. Other presidents are not presidents. Where is other president? When you believe in one president, there is no question of other president. But they also believe there are many gods. And we are holier than thou. Our God is the ultimate God. That's the only problem. Everybody says that. There are so many gods. We have Rama and Krishna and Ganapati and Hanumanji and Shiva and Parvati in all kinds of forms. No, 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 no. And the people fight. No, no, we so much so that no, we will not chant Shiva. Only Jai Shri Krishna. Jai Shri Krishna. Jai Gokulas. Then Jai Shri Krishna also Jai Gokulas. No Krishna. Then there is Radhe Radhe. Only Radha. Then there is Om Namah Shivaya. So many gods. And there are not many. Ekaha. Only one non-dual. You think Jagat is Satyam, it is Mithya. You think I am created, Bhagavan created me, I am subject to birth and death and all kinds of issues connected to that. You are birthless and deathless. Nobody has created you, you are not even created. That being a case, you need Shraddha, that is Samit Pani, surrendering. it must be true. Though my direct experience, that I am so and so. People think they know themselves very well. And in India, they threaten also to others, when there's some altercation on the road or some argument. You know with whom are you talking? You know who am I? As though idiot knows. And one fellow told me like this. In my mind, I told, yes, you are idiot. Idiot means jiva, ityartha. You don't know yourself, but people think I am. The notions, the erroneous conclusion is so confounded, so solidified that you need Shraddha to accept that that must be true and explore to see the truth of the statement of Shastra. That is where surrender is, and that is implied by Samit Pani. And to develop that surrender, we have Seva. Shastra is a pramanam, but the subject matter being peculiar, ignorance being peculiar, you need a guru, therefore guru becomes pramanam. And to see the truth or the essence of the words of a guru, Shraddha becomes pramanam. Surrender. Almost. Therefore, there is a Vakya in Bhagavad Gita. Shraddhavan labhate jnana. True, Shraddha is not a pramanam, but Shraddha is necessary for pramana to work. I have seen people are so strong-headed. In a typical Indian tradition, a sister or older brother advises them something or tells them, brother, please don't take much stress. Take it. Okay, we'll talk some other time. Don't advise me, as though I know everything. So much of notional identity, so much of identification, not with my body-mind complex, but with my ideas about my relationship, about my job, about my behavior, about my conduct, etc. I'm not ready to listen anyone. I know what I am. That means claiming myself Mr. Right. They just disconnect the phone. Okay. Both, even the mother, they tell, don't advise me. I know. Shut up. Maybe right. Here it is not maybe, it is right. You are wrong. That Shraddha gives a balam to proceed on the path of self-discovery. And here Shraddha works every step. As you proceed, you see the truth of the statements of a guru. Yes, it gets validated, the whole teaching. And that is implied by Samit Pani. And therefore Bhagavan said, Shraddhavan labhate jnanam. It's very subtle. Though I'm talking in context of a guru, you will see this only when you become an antevasi with a guru. I have seen this. When you live with the teacher, all those ragadveshas, which are the product of ignorance, ragadveshas mean insistences about the teacher, that judgmental approach in life about the Shastra and Guru and teacher comes out. And then there is a block, teaching doesn't penetrate. Whatever Guru tells is viewed subjectively, and then it blocks the whole unfoldment. The very problem is of subjectivity. To come out of subjectivity, you need Shraddha. And subjectivity is nothing but notions, ideas, conclusions, ideals, goals, values, all bundled. And all these subject, my ideas, my notions, my views, my goals, my values, etc. What I value the most. Therefore, they say Shraddhavan labhate gnanam agnasya ashraddadhanasya samshayatma vinashyati. In absence of Shraddha, for an ignorant person, slowly samshaya comes out. He or she becomes a doubting person. Though went to a teacher with Shraddha and then becomes doubting, and that deviates the person from the path of moksha. Therefore, in every course I have seen, in my course it did happen. While studying, some people leave the course. Similar mindset like some bhaktas give up Bhagavan. They pray and worship puja for 20, 30 years and suddenly say, no, I don't do any more puja, I don't believe in God because my grandson didn't get admission. That was his subjective expectation on Ishvara, and Ishvara didn't fulfill. And that's it, over. That means it's so much of valued for you. So small things becomes valued and they just go away. Never ever question this. I am telling myself, okay? So many things I didn't like it, honestly. But because I had not only Gurukula was, I had a very close association because of working for Acharya Sabha for almost 10, 12 years. And so many things he told, I observed him so closely, but never ever a thought came in my mind. I never had that. I thought he or she is improper, but then I thought he must be right. And more I grew up, more I saw the validity of his conduct and validity of his words. Never. So Shraddha becomes necessary. Anyway, with these words, we conclude the class. I have some people waiting. Something is there. I have to go. Anyway, time is also over. I'm just coming in 2 minutes. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.